case of Ebola-like virus known as Marburg discovered for the first time in West Africa, that is in Guinea. Now, to take a brief look at this news in detail, we share a pre-election results elections negotiation resume in Libya. Libya is one of the countries that we have in Africa that is in the northern part of Africa. After the death of Muammar Gaddafi in 2012, this country has actually grown into chaos. We have Islamic State Union, Daesh, IC, and others operating into the country. I have another general into the country, Khalifa, that is actually occupying one of the important cities into Libya. The UN and African, or like especially like AU, have actually the Organization of African Unity have been crucial into the negotiation into how Libya should reorganize and have a formidable election. Now they have decided to resume election negotiations so that they can have both parliamentary and presidential election come December. But most of the warring faction did not actually agree to attend the meeting. So that has actually thrown a huge doubt on the possibility of organizing a free and fair, acceptable election in future into Libya. But they are hoping that they will definitely have a kind of fantastic negotiation that will help to reorganize Libya on the space of democracy so that the citizens of Libya can once again enjoy their normal life. Another protester arrested outside Malawi parliament. In Lilongwe, Malawi, on Tuesday, about 11 protesters, including the head of the Center for Democratic Change and Economic Development Initiative, Sylvester Nimawa, was arrested because they actually went to protest against a possible bill that is about to be passed into the Malawian parliament in Lilongwe. That bill is actually going to warrant the government of Malawi to go into loan with EU for them to take about 115 million dollars or 81 million euro for them to construct prisons, houses, at the same time for them to also go ahead to construct immigration houses for those officers serving into Malawi. However, the civil service has realized that, or the civil society has realized that this could be like a corrupt move because it never went through the lay down procedure according to the Malawian parliament. So they have decided to protest against this. Based on that, the government moved ahead to ensure that they despise the protesters and the ringleaders who have been arrested. But they are saying they are not going to agree and they are going to ensure that they continue on their protest. Then another important news emanating from the southern part of Africa, that is in South Africa. Cyril Ramaphosa, who is the current president of South Africa, has actually been summoned to a commission of inquiry known as the ZUDU for him to actually give accounts of most of the corruption practices that took place under then president, who is now in Assassination, Jacob Zuma regime. And Cyril Ramaphosa was the deputy head of the African National Congress, that is ANC, also deputy president of South Africa while he was serving under Jacob Zuma. He has been accused of a complacent attitude. However, the orator man, who is actually known as a charismatic speaker, have denied all of those allegations by saying that he condemned each and every corrupt attitude by then or corrupt act being moved by the Zuma-led government that actually gave the Gumta family, who are accused of being state captured by plundering the country economy into about 81 billion euro or pound sterling, and at the same time about 105 billion United States dollars. They accuse them of him being part and parcel of this corruption practices. But he had disassociated himself with each and every corrupt practice that went on, and he condemned the act and he stands to be free. And whenever he's being called upon, he's willing to testify. And it was because of the refusal of Jacob Zuma, and by then, when today he's serving 15 years imprisonment, 15 months imprisonment because he refused to attend the state commission that was inquiring. Another important news: Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu have been actually accused of trying to run down on her promises that she promised that after she succeeded, when we have John Magufuli lost his life in March of this year, she said if she assumed office, she will not run for election in 2025. But when the BBC Hard Talk was interviewing her, according to some newspapers, they said she declared saying that she's not going to run for this election or not until God intervened what will come in 2025. So there are indications that the woman who is known as the mother of Tanzania an auntie or a sister whatsoever, but he still had the intention to continue problem. So the newspaper outlet and that media associate are saying that she still has the intention to continue the footstep of her male counterpart who they have been working together. Above all is set to go ahead on Thursday, especially in presidential election in the Gambia. I mean Zambia. The President Lungu has actually been accused of corrupt practices, failing to manage the economy accurately, and now he having a kind of Hamichima, the present opposition leader into Zambia, being a front runner into the election, is accusing him of corruption. And also have state media, all the opposition groups that are accusing the president that he doesn't want to organize a free and fair election. But the National Electoral Commission of Zambia has stand on her foot. She said, the commission said that they are willing to conduct a free and fair election into Zambia. No president is going to intervene. They should believe into the commission and allow whatever result that may come out in 72 hours just after the election. Finally, we head into West Africa in Guinea, Gegedu region. A kind of dangerous virus have been discovered, an Ebola-like virus by the name of Marburg. Marburg actually killed a patient in Guinea, Conakry, a 63-year-old patient that actually reported with an Ebola-like symptom. When he was being tested in Guinea, it was discovered that he suffered from Marburg and lost. And the disease, the virus has similar like symptoms like high fever, hemorrhagic, and at the same time, those patients can easily lose their life in a space of less than 1 week if they are not treated. And whenever you contracted this virus, they say your chances of survival is just 12%, 88% could easily lead to your death. However, WHO has said they have contacted the local health authorities and they are trying to mobilize resources and ensure that based on the previous background that Guinea fought against Ebola, they are going to use those initiatives. Mango has actually existed in places like Angola, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Kenya, South Africa, and Uganda. But this is the first time that this disease are showcasing into West Africa. And we are praying and hoping that it shouldn't continue. So far, so good. These are the important headlines emanating out of Africa.
Sorry, little glitch there. Thank you very much, Amara, for this brief report. Thank you for updating us about the latest happening around the continent. Indeed, a lot is going on and a lot is still happening around Africa. But for the sake of today's program, we will just stick to our topic, which is the assassination of Haiti President Jovenel Moise. Now we'll take our first question. Who is behind the assassination of the president and why? Amara, this is an interesting question because the whole world was shocked. We woke up one morning and heard just I think a few weeks ago that the president of Haiti was assassinated by foreigners, foreign mercenaries. And these men have been identified as people from neighboring Dominican Republic. They marched into the country dressed as DEA, the American Drug Enforcement Agency, I think. And they were speaking English. According to France 24, they marched toward the president's home and they said, DEA, put down your weapon. We are here to do certain search. And the presidential guard of Haiti led down the guard. They put down their weapon and they allowed these foreign mercenaries to march on the president and then kill him in his own bedroom. So many people are wondering that this is a high-profile assassination. How could this happen? How could foreigners invade a country and then go to the president's residence and they have a free pass, unopposed, and go into the president's bedroom and assassinate him? This is a well-thought-out plan. This was not coincidence. This was not some kind of untrained bandit who just do anything. This is like Turbo. So if you know the history of Liberia, this is how Turbo was assassinated. The man was sleeping in his bedroom and people marched on him. And until this day, we don't even know the exact names of the people that assassinated President Turbo. This is what is happening in 2021 in Haiti. Who is behind this assassination? There are many names coming, a lot of conspiracy theories. And for me, I don't really like conspiracy theory. I like to go into geopolitics and geostrategy. If you understand how the geopolitics of the world works, then you will know why certain things happen. Instead of going on, how they call it, speculation, social media news, and then all kinds of lies that are parading the internet. So when you look at the geopolitics that is happening around the Caribbean and the history of Haiti, we can be able to have some clue as to who and why the president was assassinated. First, we know that Haiti is the first black nation to stage a revolution against Europeans. In 1804, the people of Haiti took their destiny in their own hands and defeated the army of Napoleon, defeated the French, defeated the Spaniards, defeated other for the English. People don't realize the thing was just against the French. They defeated 3 European countries, slaves that were having no weapon. They were not having any trained military. But because of the quest for freedom, they fought against the European power and gained their freedom and declared Haiti a republic. The first black nation to have done that since colonialism and slavery. Now we know that's not good. That showed an image. That image that Haiti showed, that example that Haiti showed, Haiti was being punished for that. We know that throughout history. We also know the strategic location of Haiti, very close. I think it's almost in North America, and it's close to the United States. And we know that very position, just like Cuba, the United States will not allow Haiti to be controlled by any power like China or Russia. So we can see that Haiti is actually in the middle of a very big controversy. Every superpower is interested in Haiti. And we know there are so many reasons for that besides its strategic location. So I don't want to speculate. I want you to also tell me, who do you think is behind the assassination of this president?
Well, thank you very much. I think you have just briefly narrated the intricacy of Haiti and how fragile their political situation are. But we are watching Juvenal Moise here, the man who was killed on the 7th of July. We all know he was a controversial figure who personally the Haitians never wanted for him to continue his leadership. He lost popularity within the Haitian population. At the same time, his government was declared illegitimate since the term of his office expired in January 7, 2021. And Haitians were actually calling for a general presidential and parliamentary election. And when you watch at Haiti, Port-au-Prince, that is the capital city of Haiti, have a lot of drug gangs who are stationed over there. And the police per se, who are the Haitian National Police, do not have absolute control over Haiti, especially Port-au-Prince. The president may have control except outside the city. And President Jovenel Moise actually lost popularity. And there were certain people who are now key watching at this power, having knowing that the president is term of office already expired, and he's only been in power because he have international backing, especially like the US. The US have something to do with him. So at this move, he moved a controversial thing. We have before this time, you have another serving president, Joseph Hout. Joseph Hout was the prime minister of Haiti, but when he lost his life to coronavirus, what the president did, he moved. Jovenel Moise moved to appoint Joseph Claude. Joseph Claude was the acting prime minister. But because he lost his popularity, what he wanted to do was to come up with a government of national unity. So he decided to appoint Ariel Joseph. Ariel Joseph was the prime minister designate prior to his death. He appointed him on the 5th of July 2021, and the president lost his life on the 7th of July 2021. So that raised up a huge controversy. Who was actually behind the assassination of President Jovenel Moise in his home in that cold blood process? You made a lot of issues were right. The first one went to the sympathizers of Claude Joseph. We all know Claude Joseph belonged to an oligarchic set of people who believed that they should continue terrorizing Haiti, continue to plunder corruption into the entire aspect of Haiti, because they were the few educated elite, well-placed autocrats within the Haitian administration, and they have the opportunity to continue enriching themselves out of corruption. And appointing R. Joseph, who was part of the opposition, would mean trying to upseat them from their power. And it means President Moyes also lost his popularity with the ruling PHMC party that he came into power with. So he wanted to reconstruct the entire administration because he has also lost popularity, and he wanted to set up a government of national unity. But those who were actually sympathizers with Claude Joseph had the intention that should an opposition be appointed as prime minister, it indirectly means they're going to lose power and they could be exposed and persecuted at the end of the day for those corrupt attitude that they did. So there is a kind of allegation being rendered against these people that his supporters actually organized the assassination of Jovenel Moïse into his own home. Now, another one could be like you have a drug gang. Those drug gangs actually went against Jovenel Moïse because these are Venezuelans and Colombians. They are their neighbors. And they use Haiti as a transit point where they can easily continue transporting cocaine or other narcotic across the Americas. But when Moïse lost his popularity with them, he decided to institute certain legislation against these people. So they saw him like a threat. So if the man is there as a threat to them, what they wanted to do was to wipe him out of the picture. So they accuse him. And when they accuse him, he's actually lost popularity. And when he lost popularity, there was a kind of setup that man could actually be responsible. Those gang, drugs warlords, gang were actually responsible for his assassination. So there's another aspect, there's another narration. Another one, popular one, is this man, a Christian by the name, he's a medical doctor, also a popular evangelist by the name of Dr. Christian Emmanuel Sanu. They accuse him of having an ambition to overthrow Moïse. According to one university lecturer who is actually based in Haiti, she alleged that the man actually called him, discussed with him that he believed that one day Moïse is going to resign and he's going to take over. He's seen himself as the prince of Haiti, that he's going to take over. So you watch a lot of this allegation. These are it. But the main people behind the assassination of Haiti could be raised up from his own party. Because you must understand that these people, you cannot say you have a drugs enforcement agent from America who are there to ensure that they cross-check safety net. You have a security guy. This could be like a well-formed communication be disseminated from the president to a security guide, either private or those other than national. So that could be narrated to them, and if those agents actually arrive, they would have communicated it to the president, alerting him that you have actually told us that people of certain sort are going to come, and they have arrived. But they went and killed the president in cold blood, and there was no retaliation from the state security, either the private security, whosoever, till they left the scene when it was being alerted by private others, people who witnessed the scene, and with the retaliation of the commoners are burning down their vehicle, they came in. So it was a well-constructed, syndicated act. Above all, this we are trained assassins. A lot of Colombians were part of it, about 18 of them, and 3 Haitians, American, we are also part of them. And those people, there was another allegation again when I read about that they never knew that they were even going to kill the president. They thought that they were sent on a kidnapping mission. But they believe that when it resulted into it. So these are the things, but you must understand it is a well-syndicated act from his own ruling party, because there was no security retaliation, because he sacked the prime minister, Claude Joseph, and that was the retaliation, and they never wanted to expose.
Right. You made a lot of good points there. There are a lot of possibilities, because it's very difficult for you to point finger at one individual. So you mentioned 3 groups here, which everyone is also thinking about. The cabal, the local politics in the country, the political elite in the country, which I call the cabal. They might have decided to eliminate this guy, because remember, this guy is like George Weah. He came from nowhere. He was, I think he was an importer of fruits. He was a businessman, a local businessman. Late President Jovenel Moïse, before he ascended to the presidency, he was just a businessman buying fruits from Dominican Republic and then bringing it to Haiti to sell. So the Haitian felt like this guy is one of us. He's not from the cabal. He's not from the political elite or the economic elite of the country. He's one of us, one of our own. So I think when we put him there, he might bring some changes. But unfortunately, it seems like President Moïse was acting like African leaders. He got there and then he began to make this difficult. In fact, I watched one of his videos when the people were protesting against his leadership. He said, after God is me in this country, I have all the power to do whatever I want to do. So when I listened to that clip, I was like, this is not a good leader, visionary leader. Don't sound, a democratic leader shouldn't sound like that. So I'm very sure you cannot disassociate the cabal from this kind of coup or assassination of the president. Then the gangs, you mentioned the gangs in the country. You know, Haiti has been playing with a lot of gangs activity going on. In fact, we heard that President Moise was negotiating with gangs. Instead of eliminating them, he was kind of even having roundtable discussion with them, trying to even use some of them to protect himself, which, in my view, is very, very dangerous thing to do. Then the neo-colonial aspect, you cannot rule it out. Because I heard that Haiti signed a deal with Russia, okay? Because President Moise promised the country that when he comes, he's going to solve only one problem. That is the electricity problem that Haiti has been having. So he wants to build a power plant. So he could not procure any loan from China. America could not help him. So he went to Russia. So the Russians accepted to come and build a power plant for him in Haiti. So for people saw that for Uncle Tom on America, it was a red flag to bring Russia right to the next door of the United States. Remember what happened in Cuba under Castro. So they said, no, we cannot let this happen. So people think that there's a possibility also international conspiracy to get rid of him because of the deal he signed with Russia. So there's a lot of things here that we are looking at. But one last thing on this question before we move to the second question. The local politics. Why the President Moise, a commoner who was elected by the people to bring change, why did he suddenly degenerate and become a dictator?
Thank you. That is a very important question. You know, the
Little glitch there. We're having some trouble with Amara, definitely.
Haitian policies.
So, yeah. Yeah, sorry. We're having a little technical issue there with my partner, Amara. He will be back soon, definitely. So we'll look at the next question very quickly. While my partner tried to come on. If Haiti's president, Jovenel Moïse, is killed in his hometown, who is exempt? This is a big question. The number one citizen of the country has been taken out like an ordinary citizen. You have these foreign mercenaries marching into the country. Welcome back, Amara. We are on the second question now. We are on the second question. If Haiti President Jovenel Moïse is killed in his own home, who is exempt? The number one citizen of the country was taken out on the 7th of July in his own bedroom with his wife. And the worst part about it that the mercenaries were not opposed. There was no exchange of fire. The presidential guard did not even attempt to stop these guys. They marched into the president's bedroom and then killed him. Like you said in your first explanation there, it was when the assassins were leaving the scene, they were about to get on their boat to leave, that I think private citizens and other individuals made some call. Then the police came in, not even the army, the police, or the police that came in and then blocked the way where these guys were taking the route they were using to escape. They went and blocked that route and they exchanged fire. Even the citizens have to join hands to arrest these guys. The National Army did nothing. The Presidential Guard did nothing. So you cannot say this is not an inside job. It is indeed an inside job. And it's also a sign that Haiti does not have a security. The country is really vulnerable. And this beautiful country with a beautiful history. And I'm wondering what is happening to Haiti. Are Haitians even safe in their country? And right now, even the presidency is vacant. And then there's a lot going on between the prime minister who is there now and then the one who was appointed before the assassination of the president. So are we seeing a civil war? Are we seeing a very deep political crisis coming on in Haiti? What's your take on that?
Oh, thank you very much. As Ridley said, if Jovenel Moise is assassinated in his own home, who is exempt? Nobody, because we understand that the president and his family are the first people into any country. And if ever state security are to actually give high concentration, it should be them. Unfortunately, Jovenel Moise was shot over 12 times in his home bed, in his home, on his own bed in his home, and his wife also suffered from injuries. Fortunately, the daughter escaped unscathed. And they walked through a well-stationed, well-planned, well-organized security guide in a private presidential home or a presidential lodge. That in the first place tell you that the Haitians uh, have a kind of disorganized or a volatile political situation where Moise himself, while he was alive, could not be boastful of having absolute control over it. The people we are left at their own detriment. You have certain places in Port-au-Prince where no state security or armed officer actually reach there because they have well-stationed, well-organized, fully equipped gun coming from Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, or Colombia, who believe into this drugs warlord attitude. And you know, cocaine or narcotic have actually enough money. And since Haiti is is the poorest country in the Americas, and it is the only it is the only nation within the Americas that have full-fledged population that are black. About 10.2 million of the population, most of them are blacks. You have few mulattoes that are within. And you have America into the place, they only come there for their own political interest. You have French, who actually, we know that they colonized the country, and they have what they are kind of state religion into the country, and that state religion should be like Catholic. The voodoo religion into Haiti is actually being condemned. Creole, that is that they actually, because the new constitution have pronounced it to be what the national language for the country, they have French at it. So all of these things were there. So people are now left at their own detriment. Nobody is actually an exemption to any assassination into Haiti because the president or the central government has actually lost control over at national level because the country has lost, the government has lost its legitimacy. It terms expire on the 5th or on the 7th of July in 2021. And the opposition are on the prime of staging any other protest. The gun are into Haiti. And America per se supported a weak government. We all knew that our Trump-led government was actually in support of Moise. But they never came into their full support. But they were sympathizing the administration. So what Haitian expected was when Biden took over, let him ensure that there should be a free and fair election conducted into Haiti. But instead, they supported Moise and asked him to appoint R. Joseph, who is the current serving prime minister now of Haiti, to take over the administration. That was why he lost popularity with his ruling party, and it led to his eventual assassination. The appointment only took place on the 5th of July. He lost his life on the 7th of July. So that is a big synergy that needs to be investigated. So that is why the Haitians came out that we are protesting, that we are now left at our own detriment. If the president can be killed in his own home before the security guys, nobody is involved. And mind you, in fact, the state security or the president, the head of the presidential security is under investigation for possible armed trafficking to those drugs warlords. And it was President Jovenel Moise's government that actually instituted a case like that against him. So that was another big synergy that need to be investigated and watched out. If you are guiding, you are responsible to protect the president, and that president has instituted a case against you because of possible weapon trafficking to drugs warlords who are creating instability into the country, making the country to be ungovernable. So he might have actually left the president's life into total disarray and allow somebody to come. So there is no exception into Haiti. Anybody can rule over the country, and even R. Joseph, who is now the current prime minister, is not actually safe because Haiti has a kind of history of assassination, dictatorship, dethronement, political volatile situation. So nobody is actually an exemption into Haiti. So all of them are just left at their own detriment. That is why Most young people do not actually depend on the central government rule. They believe into going into gangsterism, getting into drugs world, just world attitude, where they may have arms and ammunition to protect themselves and live the type of life they are living. If you cannot control your capital, you can't be, because the capital is a stronghold, that is the political and economic stronghold of Haiti. But unfortunately, the central government does not have control over it. So there is no exemption into Haiti. Anybody could be killed. The country is just on the state of weapon, and there is a possibility that it may go into chaotic situation, and anarchy should be the worst state of disorder that everybody is presuming that it shouldn't come true.
Thank you very much, Amara. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we have more questions and about 2 to 3 more questions to discuss. Don't go away. Stay tuned. When we come back, we will also be discussing a few questions here. The third question in the background. Okay, I can't lay my hand on it. So we will take a short break. Please stay tuned, and we will be back. This is Focus on Liberia. You are watching Roundtable Africa. I am Sekou Kele, your host, and with my co-host Edward Amara, and we are discussing the topic, the assassination of President Jovenel Moise of Haiti. Next question here is, who is ruling Haiti after the president assassination? Now, the situation here, we have a constitutional crisis because the president already before he was even assassinated, I think they were calling for fresh election because he suspended parliament, and then people said there were constitutional crisis already there, and they wanted fresh election before the president was assassinated. And before even the assassination as well, he appointed a new prime minister who was supposed to take oath and then be sworn in, I think, the following week. Then the president died suddenly. Now the two prime ministers are trying to present themselves, the incumbent and then the one that was appointed, each of them trying to present themselves before the nation as the legitimate ruler. And now the new elections also are in the corner. We don't know when. So this, we don't even know who is in charge of Haiti right now. And Africa is doing nothing about it. We'll come to that shortly. But the country itself is now in the hands of gangs. Because the last week I watched, one of the gang leaders was giving orders or trying to tell the population what to do, what they need to do. Coming on live TV, a gang leader coming on live TV, giving instructions to the population what they need to do, what is the next course of action. It's like that gang leader is even leading a certain part of the country. He's in charge of it. Then this unpopular prime minister is also in charge, even though his words are not effective because he was already dismissed. Okay. Then the incoming prime minister, the one appointed by the president, but is not legally appointed because he has not taken the oath of office. He's also there talking, but he doesn't have any legitimacy. So the situation in Haiti right now is very, very fragile. And we don't know who is in charge of Haiti. I know that the incumbent prime minister called America to come and assist. He called in the United States and other international partners to come in. And then I don't know whether he called African Union as well, because I know Haiti is a member of the African Union it has an observer role in the African Union. But we have not seen any move. We have not seen any statement from our continent. So that place is see no evil, hear no evil, and smell no evil. That's what Africa is. It's a dead place where they are not even following international politics. Our leaders are not interested in the geopolitics of the world. They are just in their little corner eating their little rice and then having a lot of women around them. That is the best of life for them. So Haiti is in a very serious political crisis right now, and nobody knows who is ruling that country at the moment. And to even the next election, we don't even know who is going to appoint the election commission, who is going to certify the election. It's a very serious situation. And for me, I can't tell you right now who is in charge of Haiti. Do you know?
Thank you very much. Based on the prevailing circumstances, it is Harry Joseph, the Harry Henry. I mean, the Prime Minister appointed by Jovenel Moise prior to his death on the 5th of July 2021. I think when he died or when he was assassinated in his home, three important figures rose up into Haiti. All of them were vying for the power. The first one was who? Joseph Claude or Claude Joseph. He was the prime minister, the one that was in power prior to the appointment of Harry Joseph. But when the man never took on power officially when Jovenel Moise lost his life. So he proclaimed himself as the prime minister and declared a state of martial order where they have the decree to do everything. And mind you, those assassins that actually did the assassination, we are speaking Spanish and English. So sending a kind of message that it was actually done by foreigners. And under circumstances like that, the constitution of Haiti gives the current leadership to act into a dictatorial manner, assuming that they have been invaded by. So the best they can do is to do everything they can to control. That is where they have a national interest. So they use it as a kind of yardstick to what? To take up punitive or what? To take up vindictive measures on anybody that they may think and feel that you are a threat to it. So another possible one was Joseph Lambert. Joseph Lambert was the Speaker of the House. He thought it that necessary that if the president is assassinated under that circumstances, when in the absence of the president, the vice president, that should be the one. But since it has happened under a controversial circumstances, then the Speaker of the House to take over. They debunk the attitude. Then the man who president, the deceased president already appointed, who was Harry Joseph, was there. Harry Henry was, I am the man. I should be elected, or I should be appointed. I should assume my office immediately. And they refused. But based on constitution and proceedings, they decided that Harry Joseph should take up his particular position as the Prime Minister of Haiti, so that he should continue dispensing duty until election have been organized. But here is the situation now. As you rightly said, you mentioned a key factor over there, the gang. You have a lot of gangsterism taking on into Haiti, especially the capital, Port-au-Prince. And these are not ordinary gangs. They are drugs warlords. They are financially and weaponly equipped. They have the weapons at their disposal to take even over the government of Haiti. Because it's a kind of government that have been caught up into bankruptcy. They can't even pay their civil servant fully. They cannot, the government have not been in position to fully fulfill its social responsibilities to the state. And most of those state functionaries have been embedded into corruption, and they are even vulnerable to any gangsteric act, because if the police are not vulnerable to those things, they would have been in position to secure the country against any foreign invasion like that. But nothing like that. So everybody is just bent, everybody is just vulnerable to corruption. So the president per se, or the prime minister per se, realized that he does not have an absolute control by the system. There is a lot that is going on, and you watch at the autocrats of Haiti. These are the former president's own party members who are well established, monetarily equipped, and they still have sympathizers within this current administration here. So there's a lot of political vendetta going on into Haiti. Gangsters want to lead the government. The prime minister, the current prime minister, has a bone of contention with he may be a prime minister, but most of the positions were actually appointed by the PHMC, Moise, the deceased Moise, his own political party member. So Haiti is just in a state of anarchy, a political volatile situation. You're having a head who does not have control by every situation. So there is a possibility, even America, France, they have their own interests. The Americans only believe in transaction. And they believe that if the current prime minister has their own interest, the American business interest may be threatened. So that is why any president who may come into power into Haiti, if you do not have foreign backing, especially the immediate neighbors, that is America, just like in the case of Cuba, it is absolutely impossible for you to stay long. So they can either, we have seen on several occasions where American Marines have been involved into the overthrowing of sitting president. They can either ask you to quit power, or they can easily use state means for you to quit, for you to it. If you cannot leave power, power will leave you. So all of these things. So there's a political volatile situation. Though R. Joseph is the prime minister currently, we do not have a president. And by right, he should be the one that should organize election in December. But there is a possibility that Haiti might become more chaotic, into a kind of thrown into a state of anarchy, because there is no absolute control. The government is not equipped militarily and financially to have absolute control over the situation. And the citizens are left at their own detriment. Everybody is evolving into gangstering attitude. So it's really not easy for the Haitians, because the population is the poorest population into Southern America. 10.2 million people are living in desolate position. They are desperate for peace and unity, and they want to have a Haitian solution. But unfortunately, the situation is not at that amicable place for them to find a kind of suitable solution for themselves.
Thank you very much, Amara. The word there, as you said, is anarchy. The lack of central order and control is what we are seeing unfolding, unfortunately, in our beloved country, Haiti, a country that's loved by all Black people, including Africa, a symbol of revolution, a symbol of Black revolution, the symbol of African resistance during slavery, and one of the countries that really gave hope to Black people that they were not animals, they were not people who succumbed to slavery, but they were free human beings that were subjected to enslavement and poverty, and they fought and won that victory. It's a symbol of our power. That's why Haiti is loved by everyone. And we really hope that things really turn out for better and the children of Haiti rise up to do something. Let's take our last question. What are the expected roles of America, France in Haiti's political crisis, and what impact does it have on Africa? Well, for me, it's very simple. I say the role of America and France remain the same. Because, whenever people mention America and France, we Black people, we always forget history. And they say history is group memory. What do we call history? History is like, if you look at the word history, it means to remember. What are you remembering? You remember important past events of your life in order for you to understand the present reality and plan for the future. The history of America towards Black people was slavery. The history of France towards Black people was slavery and colonialism. So today, the reality is still the same, even though it will no longer be like they want to capture on the street and enslave us, but the geopolitics and strategy of those nations is that of leader versus servant. They want to exploit your country to enrich their country. So I do not expect France to help Haiti. No. In fact, after the defeat of Napoleon, French people reorganized an army to recapture Haiti. They asked Haiti to pay for what they call reparation for their own freedom, reparation to the slave owners. Haiti had to pay billions of dollars to France. So the geopolitics of France towards Haiti is destruction, to make sure they perpetuate the poverty, they make sure that Haiti continue to be a poor nation, that it continue to be a laughing stock, so that it does not become that shining nation that it is in history books that will motivate other people. So they make sure that it becomes a country that will always be languishing in poverty, will be surrounded by all sorts of bandits and anarchy. So at least they will say, this is what happened to people who fight against us. This is what happened to people who refuse to fall under our rule. So we will make you a scapegoat so that no one will fight on the game. So that's their strategy. With all due respect to America, the bastion of so-called democracy, we know that the geopolitics of America towards Africa is the same as Haiti. They are like, yo, we are in charge here, and our interest is first. And our interest is to protect our companies, our intelligence, and what have you. It's not to help you economically. It's not to help you socially. It's not to help you to evolve and then become a rival against us. Well, we will not allow that. We will make sure that you remain poor so that you always beg us for food. So that's their political strategy. So I don't expect them to do anything positive for Haiti. If anybody have that kind of dream, I can say you can dream again. That America will come someday rise up and come and help you out of poverty. They have never done it to any country and they will never do. They are protect. They always say we protect our national interest. And you should understand that language. So they are not helping you at all. Even if you call them, you have a security problem and you call them, they have sticky fingers. When they come into your country, they don't live like that. So Haiti, the freedom of Haiti, like always, will be Haitian themselves. Like they did in 1804. It wasn't America that liberated them in 1804. It wasn't France that liberated Haiti in 1804. It was the Haitians. It was the so-called voodoo priest, traditional leader that you overlook. Alain Toussaint, Boukman Douti. These were the great men. Asata. All these Africans, they came together and said, freedom or death. We have to fight for our freedom. Freedom or death. When they developed that philosophy, they got free. The same is true for this generation of Haitians. It's either they see their sovereignty and their freedom and their dignity as most important thing to them, like their ancestors did. Otherwise, they will remain international beggars, like we are in Africa, and there will be no help except self-determination. No one is going to help you. The world doesn't work like that. There is no help out there. There is no auntie or uncle country out there or friendly country out there that is coming to help you. It's not going to happen. The only people that should help Haiti, I think, is the African Union. They should step up. This is the only country in the Caribbean that have come forward to say we want to be part of the African Union. We recognize our history, that we are Africans, taken here by force, taken to the Caribbean by force during the transatlantic slavery. And we want to join our ancestral land. Unfortunately, this so-called African Union rejected their request and just made an observer, just like Israel, that is now in Middle East, has become an observer of the African Union. So Haiti wanted to be a member, the only country that made that request from the Caribbean. So today, the African Union should be rallying around Haiti, financial support, political support. They should be looking for putting out funds and then logistics to help this nation. It's an African nation. That's why it's in the Caribbean. And in fact, the strategic location of Haiti is an advantage for Africa to stretch their arms. And tomorrow, in the future, United States of Africa, we can have a military base over there, trying to flex our muscles. But Africans are not seeing the future, and they are allowing this little country to struggle on its own. And now these powerful nations are going to surround Haiti and crush Haiti because that's all they want to do. They are not there to help that country. So I don't see any help coming from America. In fact, I don't think their hands are clean of the assassination. And I don't think France is going to help. They are only going to make it worse because they are always angry in the history books when they read that Haiti defeated them. So that's all I have to say on this. What do you have, Amara?
Oh, thank you very much. As we are barely running out of time, I think it's a very controversial issue. And we all know the status of America and France in the Haitian issues. I think we are expecting them to perform a fatherly role into incidences like this. Unfortunately, we have a very selfish and unscrupulous, well-placed elite country who always sing their own selfish interests. We know they are very egotistical in attitude. What we were expecting was for Haiti to be protected by the Americans instead of being exploited. Unfortunately, they are already having crisis with the American. In fact, one of the narratives that people were actually proposing that it could be the possible responsibility of the assassination of Jovenel Moïse was he has lost his kind of coordination with the America. And normally, when he lost any coordination or personal peace with with this warlord or with this all powerful country, especially like America, they will organize for your dismiss in power, or they can easily organize for your demise. And one of the things could be like that. But you see, Jovenel Moise actually had a constitution in place. And the constitution, one of those things, want to replace the Catholics, which was regarded as a state religion, or which is still regarded as a state religion, into Haiti. So everything about Catholic is going to be replaced, and in fact they criminalize the Buddha religion into Haiti, and he wanted to decriminalize it and make it Haiti to be like a secular state. If you want, you can become a Catholic, a Muslim, or a Buddhist person, or somebody believe in nature. That is your own business. And he also wanted to replace French as the official language to that of Creole, rewrite the constitution, and empower the Haitians to take decisions on their own. Because of the poverty-striking nature of Haiti, especially the 2010 earthquake that resulted into the death of over 200,000 Haitians, wrecked the economy and destroyed infrastructure. This country has actually been living on donor-driven funds. So they have their direct say into those things. So we are seeing that American business interests, as long as they have been threatened, they have nothing to do. France, as you rightly said, France was forced in some part of the 19th century to repay the reparation that was given to them in 1947 by Haiti, because when the Haitians defeated them, they were forced to pay repatriation. But that reparation was not ever paid until 1947. But because certain circumstances, then they are forcing France to pay. And we don't want any government that will come to power and legislators that may go against their own feeling. They will definitely. So we are seeing exploiters, people who are still willing for the Haitians to continue living into vulnerable position. So their role was actually to be further. Unfortunately, it is not there. That could also have an impact on Africa. We are seeing, West Africa. I know what we are going through. You may see what Great Britain may decide to do when Sierra Leone decide to go against our own way. You may see what America may do to Liberia if Liberia decided to withdraw all her loyalty from America and to stand our own independently. French Guinea may also suffer that. They are talking about Senegal. So these are exploiters. Their role is actually creating huge trouble. In fact, their presence is more of a problem than a solution. Their presence is serving as a problem than a solution. So that is why Haitians are vowing that if anything is to be decided, then let it be decided on the Haitian principle, not on what America or France may favor. Because what they may favor, they are not part of the Haitians' culture. They are only there as exploiters, protecting their own interests, trying to dollarize the Haitian economy. Because everything in Haiti has been dollarized. So that is why inflation is at a hyper rate. And they are seeing political instability is there, dictatorship is there, and they are only forcing things. So these are just mere exploiters. Their roles are very negative, and it's still having the concomitant effect on Africa. I think it is high time AU stand on that own and support Haiti, because this was the first black nation that became independent, defeated the powerful force like Napoleon Bonaparte in 1804. So why can't we come back together and support our own? It is high time. You see the like of Cyril Ramaphosa. You talk about Mohamed Buhari. You talk about all other countries who have strong power political leaders to come to the aid of Haiti and fight for them. Or else we are trying to see another political chaos that may continue, because the situation is already volatile and they're even afraid of anarchy. So far, so good. I think their role is very poor, unentertaining, and it's not something that anybody need to pamper. So it's high time Africa stand on their own and tell these great world leaders in their faces that what he's doing is wrong, and Haitians should be responsible for their own principle. But very soon you may see France and America will be leading the negotiation role. And most of the principles that will be decided may be things that may favor them and not the Haitian people.
Thank you very much, Amara. All Pan-Africanists around the world, we believe they share our thought at this moment that we stand in solidarity with the people of Haiti, and the Haitian struggle is our struggle. The struggle of Haiti is the struggle of Africa, and the tears of Haiti is the tears of Africa. The tears of Haiti is the tears of Africa, and the victory of Haiti is the victory of Africa. That great land of the ancestors, that great land of warriors who fought for our freedom and the dignity of the black man. It's going through a lot of struggle, and we hope that well-meaning African who have some consciousness, African who understand how politics works around the world, will put their hand together and help Haiti and make sure they come out of the political crisis. Haiti has survived a lot of struggle, had natural disaster, poverty, a lot of things going on there, and they've always triumphed and they've always come through. And we hope this time around they come through and they overcome this situation. Amara, I will take just 1 minute there for a parting comment, and then we will wrap it up.
Oh, thank you very much. I think we are praying and hoping, and we're asking the AU to intervene into the Haitian situations, especially like Big Brother Africa, Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Ghana, those who are well stationed to actually lead the negotiation and ensure that if anything is to be decided, let it be decided on the Haitian principles. They should forget about America and France taking the lead role into any negotiation that may go into Haiti, especially with the current Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, in place. And they should form a government of national unity, at least try to stabilize the Haitian community, because Haiti have been suffering from chronic political instability, dictatorship, and natural disaster that wrecked the country in 2010, that left about over 200,000 Haitians dead and wrecked the infrastructure of the country. I think solutions like that need to be drawn upon, and America and France should be deleted out of the picture. They should be there as passive members, not as active members, and AU should actually lead the cause. And I think a new constitution needs to be drafted that should empower the Haitian community to avoid such political chaotic situation. I thank you all. Good night.
Thank you very much, Amara. Thank you very much for being there. Thanks to our viewers for following us every Wednesday. And my own parting comment here is that we really hope that Haiti will get back on her feet. This country, like I said earlier, is the land of African revolution. It's a symbol of African glory in the 1800s, when all hope was lost, when the black man was under the total control of European rule. These were the first black people that stood up and took arms and said, we want freedom or death. And then they got their freedom. So that symbolism, that alone, when you see the flag of Haiti, you should be seeing the symbol of black dignity. You should be seeing the symbol of African revolution. So we should not be seeing Haiti as a separate entity from us as Africans. We should see it as part of us, just like Black Americans are. So we really hope that African leaders, African intellectuals will begin to speak out there and then galvanize support for Haiti. We cannot leave Haiti in the hands of France, in the hands of America, all these countries to come to help to help Haiti. But we ought to all put hands together to help Haiti. If you see any kind of fundraising online for people trying to help Haiti, try to take part, because they are one of us, and then their victory is our victory. Their defeat is our defeat. With that, guys, thank you very much for following today's edition of Roundtable Africa. We will see you again next week, same time, and always be with us. And then we always have this great music that we part with. We are all Liberians. Please enjoy it.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.